I love what Mike Oliva did with his YouTube video about Fred Gallo memories. So I decided I'm gonna try and give a little crack at it. Because I don't have many pictures with me and Fred, but I definitely have some great memories. In about 1993, I think it was, I was fifth string catcher for the Iona Prep Gales. I was a junior. Fred, I guess with my affiliation with the Silver Fox, Bob Caputo, Fred knew my affiliation with him, so he decided, or he found out like where I lived. And at the time, Fred lived in Kingsbridge and I lived in Riverdale. So one day he pulls me aside and he's like, Bob Bell, you live in Riverdale, don't you? And back then, you know, he was an intimidating guy. So I didn't really know him. And I just knew it was scary Fred Gallo, you know? So I'm like, yeah, coach, I live there. I live in Riverdale. He's like, Bob, I live in Kingsbridge. I live right across the way there. So I'm like, all right, cool, you know, cool. He goes, stop waking your parents up on weekends to come up to these games. I'll drive you. Okay, I'm like, this is great, you know. Coach Gallo's gonna drive me up. So it was like, he picks me up that first weekend game. Actually, I think it was like during Easter break. It was like a weekday, I think. And most of the ride was kind of silent. And and he's sitting there, and back then he had that Renault, as a lot of you guys remember, that Renault, which is probably still around, knowing him, along with half of his wardrobe from 1993. We were sitting in it, and he had the cigar. But back then he was smoking, not chewing, like he did later. He was smoking the cigar actually in the car, which was great. As we get to know each other, we bust each other's balls a lot, you know, in typical Fred fashion. One day he comes up to me and he goes, Bob, I think you're allergic to hitting. Which right away, and I laughed, I chuckled, but he wasn't wrong. But I was laughing, and he goes, and I do believe your glove is made of Goodyear rubber. Again, I'm laughing, but he's not wrong. So he goes, however, there is somewhat of a glimpse of life in that pixie stick of an arm that you have. So I think we're gonna make you a pitcher. I'm like, okay. I took that as, I was like, all right, I think he likes me, at least, you know. So after that, I became a pitcher. That was one like real good memory when he pulled me aside and said that. Then the next memory was, I think I've told it, I've posted it. It's probably one of the greatest to me, if anybody told me that this happened to somebody else, I would say that's the greatest thing a coach could ever say to you, ever. It's the funniest thing ever. I believe we played Xavier. We just lost. We took gas to a crappy Xavier team. We're all lined up on that old bench. We didn't have, again, like Mike said, we had tree stumps on metal on tree stumps in front of a fence. We didn't have a big cement dugout or anything. That was it. We sat there, and he's railing into us that we just took gas to a bum team. And while they're doing it, Brother Johnson, God rest his soul, he used to take the leftover Gatorade jugs, and I try to wet down home plate. So we're sitting there getting reamed out, and Brother Johnson just throws water on like the home plate area, and it made the funniest sound I think I've ever heard in my life. And I had John Carapella sitting next to me on the left, and Mark Moshe sitting next to me on the right. And Gallo is ripping the other side of the bench, and in the corner of his eye, he sees me and Carapella like this. Because that thing made such a crazy sound. It was so stupid, but we just couldn't stop laughing. And so he's talking, he does a double take towards me, and he goes, "Bob, Bale, what the?" It's so funny. And Carapella, the 22nd and 23rd man on a 21-man team, and you guys are laughing? And that just, it started, it was, you get that feeling when somebody next to you is laughing and trying to contain it, and you can't contain it, and it's like contagious. It's almost like somebody tased the people on the outside, and it connects all of you. It was, I don't know if I've ever laughed so hard in my life. And I told a lot of people that story. I told Fred that story later, years on, and it's still, I mean, that's my personal greatest Fred memory ever of me. And we've had a lot. I mean, and then later on, came back, I coached with him. We did a lot of things that became, a lot closer with him. But that right there stuck with me. That was the funniest thing I've ever experienced with Fred Gallo in my life. But listen, everybody on this page, we all love Fred. We've all had our experiences, and we all miss him. He was a great man. He influenced hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids that came through and that stepped on that field at Iona Prep. And happy birthday, buddy. I know it's coming up soon, and I love you and I miss you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.